When we discussed introduction and formulation of a transportation problem, we saw that the transportation problem can be formulated in this manner. The objective function is to minimize the total transportation cost while satisfying the source and destination constraints. There is also a non-negativity constraint, as you cannot transport any negative quantity from any source to any destination. We also saw that when the total of all the source capacities taken together is equal to the total of all the destination requirements taken together, we end up with a balanced transportation problem. So what happens when we have a balanced transportation problem is that the source and destination constraints, which were inequalities in case of unbalanced transportation problem, they are now equations in case of the balanced transportation problem. And because we deal with equations in case of balanced transportation problem, this is a relatively easier problem to solve as compared to the unbalanced transportation problem. So whenever we have an unbalanced problem in front of us, it is first transformed to a balanced transportation problem by adding either a dummy source or a dummy destination. And then the problem is looked at as a balanced transportation problem. So whatever discussion we will be having henceforth will be for a balanced transportation problem. An example of a balanced transportation problem could be something like this. So if you see, the source capacities are 15, 25 and 60, which add up to 100, and the destination requirements are 10, 20, 30 and 40, which also add up to 100. And the C11, C12, C13, etc. are nothing but the cost of transporting a unit quantity from a particular source to a particular destination. Now before we discuss the methods of solving a balanced transportation problem, let's first look at a few terms which we will be coming across. First is a feasible solution. A feasible solution is a set of non-negative allocations xij that satisfy the rim conditions. Now rim conditions are nothing but the supply-demand conditions, or they can also be called as the row column conditions. So let's understand this with the help of the example. Now suppose this is a solution to the problem that we just saw. Now if you see, there are a few cells of this matrix which are empty. This means that there will be no quantities that will be transported from those particular sources to destinations. For example, when this cell is empty, it means there is no quantity which will be transported from source 1 to destination 2. Likewise, when we say this cell is empty, it means that there will be no quantity which will be transported from source 2 to destination 4. Now the numbers in yellow indicate the quantities that will be transported from particular source to particular destination. So this 10 is nothing but the quantity that will be transported from source 1 to destination 3. So these numbers in yellow are called as the allocations. Now what do we mean by a feasible solution? It is a set of non-negative allocations that will satisfy the rim conditions. So let's see if this solution is a feasible solution. The first requirement is that the allocations should be non-negative. So we see that all the allocations are either positive or 0. So the first condition is satisfied, that these are non-negative allocations. The second condition is that it should satisfy the rim conditions, that is the supply-demand conditions. So when we look at the first source, its capacity is 15. We are going to transport a total of 5 and 10, that is total 15 quantities will be transported from the first source. Similarly, for the second source, its capacity is 25 and we will be transporting a total of 25 quantities from that source. And for the third source, its capacity is 60 and here we are transporting 5 plus 15, that is 20 plus 40, 60. So third source condition is also satisfied. Similarly, for the first destination, its requirement is 10 and we will be transporting 5 plus 5, that is 10 quantities to the first destination. And you can check, for the second destination we have 20, for the third destination we have 30, that is 10 plus 5 plus 15, and for the fourth destination we have 40. So this solution in front of us is a feasible solution. So I hope you understand what is meant by a feasible solution. Next is an optimal solution. Now it is obvious that any feasible solution that minimizes the total transportation cost is called an optimal solution. The next term is a basic feasible solution. Now when we look at a balanced transportation problem, we will have a total of m constraints for sources and n constraints for destination. So it means that there are a total of m plus n equations. But because we have this condition satisfied, that is the total of all the source capacities taken together is equal to the total of all the destination requirements taken together, one of the equations out of this m plus n will be redundant. Now when we look at this balanced transportation problem, it will have 3 source constraints and 4 destination constraints. So the total number of equations is 3 plus 4, that is 7. But because of the condition that the total of all the source capacities taken together is equal to the total of all the destination requirements taken together, one of those 7 equations is going to be redundant. Which means that if 6 out of the 7 conditions are satisfied, the 7th is automatically satisfied. So in general, when there are m plus n equations, one of them is going to be redundant, and so we need to satisfy only m plus n minus 1 equations. So a balanced transportation problem has total m plus n minus 1 basic variables. So what we mean by basic feasible solution is that it is a feasible solution containing no more than m plus n minus 1 allocations. When there are exactly n plus n minus 1 allocations, it is a non-degenerate basic feasible solution. And when the number of allocations is less than n plus n minus 1, it is a degenerate basic feasible solution. Now the objective of the transportation problem is to minimize the total transportation cost. So we always try to optimize the solution. Now the requirement for a solution so that it can be optimized is that it should be a basic feasible solution that will satisfy the following conditions. First, it should satisfy the RIM conditions, that is the supply and demand conditions. Second, it should satisfy the non-negativity constraint. Third, whatever allocations are there in the basic feasible solution should be independent. Now, what do you mean by independent? Is that the allocations should not form a loop. We'll come to this in a while. And there should be exactly n plus n minus 1 allocations. So basically this means that the basic feasible solution should be a non-degenerate basic feasible solution. Now what do you mean by this condition that the allocations should not form a loop? Let's look at this with the help of the example. Suppose you start with any cell which has an allocation. Now if you move in horizontal and vertical directions alternately, passing through the other cells which have an allocation, and if you can come back to the original cell with which you started, then we say that the solution has a loop. So for example, when we look at this solution, we can identify that there is a loop present in this. And that loop is this. So if we start with this cell 1, 1, we can move in horizontal and vertical directions alternately and come back to that cell when we pass through the other allocations. So this is known as a loop in a solution. So this solution has a loop. But when we look at this solution, you can start with any cell which has an allocation and move alternately in horizontal and vertical directions, passing through other cells which have allocations, but you will not be able to come back to the cell with which you started. So this solution does not have any loop. So all of these allocations are said to be independent. Now in this solution where we identified a loop, you will observe that there are total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 allocations. And the value of n plus n minus 1 for this problem is 6 as we saw earlier. So though this solution is feasible, but it is not a basic feasible solution. And in general, whenever a solution has more than n plus n minus 1 allocations, you will be able to identify loops which need to be broken so that you end up with a total of exactly n plus n minus 1 allocations before you begin to optimize the solution. So these are the conditions that the feasible solution or the basic feasible solution should satisfy before you begin to optimize the solution. Now as discussed earlier, the balanced transportation problem is a linear programming problem. So it can be solved using simplex method. However, since the number of variables involved is large, the number of computations is much more and hence using the simplex method becomes more time consuming and laborious. Also, the simplex method will start with a basic feasible solution that is quite far away from the optimal solution. So the balanced transportation problems are solved with the methods which provide an initial basic feasible solution that are close to the optimal solution. And to remind you again, in case we have an unbalanced transportation problem, it is first converted to a balanced transportation problem by adding a dummy source or a dummy destination. So further, we will discuss the methods to find the initial basic feasible solution to a transportation problem and then look at the methods to optimize the solution.